Good morning, everybody. Good morning, YouTube. It is Thursday, February 15th, 2024, 9:33 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can check this out live on playback.tv/slightlybiased. If you're watching this on playback.tv/slightlybiased, you can check these out on this Slightly Biased Clips channel right after the stream ends. We're getting so close to 1,000 subs. We're getting so close. And I can't wait. It's going to be a great celebration. And they're saying people are lining the streets in preparation for it. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just something that's been going around. That's just something that's been floating around out there. And I can't confirm nor deny it, but just something to keep in mind. All right. The Dallas Mavericks are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. I figure let's start here. Isaiah Stewart is going to jail. Not really, but he did get arrested for punching Drew Eubanks in the face. For punching Drew Eubanks in the face in the tunnel before the game. I don't know what the fuck happened there. We are awaiting the release of a video or something, but had to be pretty serious for somebody to get arrested. I mean, it's very rare that you see that. We see scuffles between athletes and players. You know, and to get arrested, that just feels like such a rare occurrence. And it's, obviously the Pistons and Suns played each other last night. Obviously, Isaiah Stewart was a little busy. But Drew Eubanks did play. So I gotta, we await the video. Is what it boils down to. All right, before we really get into that, the Mavericks beat the Spurs before heading into the All-Star break. They are now winners of 6 straight games, officially since the Golden State Warriors lost last night. The longest winning streak in the National Basketball Association. Ladies and gentlemen, the hottest team in the league, your Dallas Mavericks. So that's great. Feels good. Second longest winning streak since 2011. That kind of feels not correct. But maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But 6 straight wins for the Mavs over that 6-game stretch. Over that 6-game stretch, the Mavericks have had the best defense in the NBA. Celtics also have 6. Okay, my bad. I didn't know that. All right, the Celtics and the Mavericks. Both 2 of the hottest teams in the NBA. There you go. Hottest team in the West. How about that? We also played bums. I mean, they did beat the Oklahoma City Thunder by 60 points. So, I mean, that did happen. I do agree their schedule hasn't been great. But, they are taking care of business. Right? And again, that nice win against the Thunder, that sort of solidifies this whole thing. And yeah, it was the Sixers and the Knicks. Both those teams were very injured. They're taking care of business. And I'm not going to discredit them because of their schedule, because it's hard to win in the NBA. The Cavs have been one of the hottest teams in the league over the last month and a half. Everyone's gawking over them. Guess what? Their schedule's been terrible. But guess what? It's really hard to win a lot of games in the league regardless. So it's still impressive what the Cavs are doing, even though their schedule hasn't been very good. The same way winning 6 straight games is an impressive feat, regardless of what happens. For the Mavericks, the number one defense in the league over the last 6 games. I mean, you could kind of poo-poo that by saying, yeah, the teams they played sucked. And that's fair. But still, being the number one defense for a 6-game stretch, regardless of the opponents, is pretty impressive. So, that's shocking. And a lot of it has to do with the Gafford and the P.J. Washington additions. I mean, P.J. Washington was tremendous defensively last night against Victor Wembanyama, when it felt like early in the game Victor Wembanyama was going to just, Slenderman over the Mavericks, squat and poop on their chest. Like, that's what it felt like early in the game. And I'm sorry for being, a little crash, but that's just how it was. Mavs are playing bad D versus Wimby early on. He had tough shots. I mean, there's literally nothing you can do. Like, it's Victor Wanyama. Like, nothing except pray. But PJ Washington did a pretty good job of fronting him and making life difficult, being a little bit physical with him, just doing everything that he can do. Iztok had a nice little... I guess it was just one play. Little tip out, rebound. Yeah, I think PJ Washington hasn't shot the three ball well yet. I think he's like one of... Oh, man, it's bad. One of 11, one of 12 from three so far, or 2 of 12 from three so far. Obviously not what you want. However, his defense has legitimately been really good. And it's clearly made a difference on this Mavericks team. His versatility defensively, Nick mentioned it on Locked On last night that game 1 against the Spurs, or game 1 against the Thunder, his first game as a Maverick, he checks into the game, immediately picks up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and spends most of the game guarding Jalen Williams. Now, if you want to go look at Jalen Williams' recent stats, you guys know I love Jalen Williams. I think he's fucking really good. But if you just go look at his game logs, you'll notice something kind of interesting. And, maybe you chalk it up as a bad game or whatever the case may be, but 20 points, missed 3 games with an ankle injury, 26 points, 9 points, 32, 33. PJ's possessions on Wemby since the start of the second half. Yeah, and this allows Gafford to just kind of roam and be a help defender, having a guy like PJ Washington. And then the game against the Wizards, that was a great block. The game against the Wizards, that's a great job. The game against the Wizards, he great work. It's a shitty call, ref. No, that's not a foul. That's a shit call. The game against the Wizards, he picks up Kyle Kuzma, the Wizards' best offensive player. And in the second half of this game, he picked up Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs' best offensive player. A point guard, a legit forward, and a center. That is who PJ Washington has guarded 3 games, his 3 games with the Mavericks. And what makes me excited about this Mavs team, and I'm not going to spend too much time on them today because I'm going to make a video here in a little bit. So, don't want to get too much into it, too deep into it, but it feels like they can get better. It feels like they can get better. Like there's still room for improvement, and there's still, room to sort of work these guys in, because PJ Washington did spend most of the first half not touching the basketball. And, Derek Lively has missed the last 6 games before last night, or whatever it was, 7 games, I think. And he was on a minute restriction and looked incredible, plus 27 in 17 minutes. Yeah, but Maxey missed this game, but he's healthy. I'm saying, Dante Exum will hopefully be back soon. And when Exum comes back, the way Hardy's been playing, the Mavs are going to have, legit 11 players who can play basketball. And it's not like, it's not like, we're trying to pigeonhole guys who just aren't very good into the rotation and just pray to God they work. No, they have a legit 11 guys who can play basketball, and it feels good. And just the addition of Gafford and Derek Lively, the Mavericks are +7 when he's on the court this season, -1.5 when he's off. Gafford comes in. Mavericks +5 when he's on the court this season so far in his 64 minutes in the games that he's played. So the Mavericks now have two bigs. Like their big weakness was when Lively's off the court, things can get a little spooky. Now you don't really have that concern. Luka and Kyrie are playing incredible off one another. I mean, absolutely incredible. Luka's not even really having to do much. I mean, that's the best part of it. Is we're not during the 6-game winning streak. The Mavericks had a 6-game winning streak last year, which I didn't forget about, but in my one-word reaction, I was like, I don't even remember what a winning streak was. So I was like, well, they did have a 6-game winning streak last year. I was like, oh yeah. But let's just look at that 6-game winning streak for Luka. That 6-game winning streak for Luka. Here it is. 50 points, 32 points, 60, 35, 51, 39. And if you notice, I mean, beat the Spurs by 1 point, beat that shorthanded Knicks team by 5. That was the crazy Luka 60-point game. Scraping by against dog shit teams, needing Luka to play out of his mind. Right? Yeah, barely beating bad teams. This winning streak right here, 19 points, 35, 39, 32, 26, 27. You know, that's it. Not really needing to do much. 15 shot attempts against the Sixers, 27, 24, 20. 14, 16. I mean, he's really not having to do much. I mean, just look at this stretch right here. This was when Kyrie was out. Look at the shots right here. 24, 30, 24, 33, 26, 23. And true, yeah, he didn't play in the fourth quarter against the Spurs. Didn't play in the fourth quarter against the Thunder. Got some fourth quarter minutes. Or I guess he did close the game against the Wizards. Yeah, look at the minutes, too. Only over 40 minutes once in the last 4 games. That's great. The points per game for Luka being down is a good thing. It is. It just is. He's going to get the scoring title anyways. Like, there's just no way he doesn't. It's going to be great. Look at the minutes without Kyrie. Like, for the whole season. Luka games without Kyrie. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was unsustainable garbage. But they didn't really have a choice. So it's nice going into the All-Star break on a 6-game winning streak, and a 6-game winning streak where Luka played well, but didn't have to put you on his back and just carry you all the way. You know, was able to just kind of play his game, do Luka things. You still win games. Do you think the Luka defense talk by Mavs Twitter is overblown? I mean, he's been a much better defender this year, for sure. Do I believe some of the analytics that say he's like a top 10 defender in the league? Of course not. No. But he's been a much better defender this year. I mean, that much is certain. When he locks in, and he's been much better at that, too. I'll still get on to him when he doesn't. But when he's locked in, he's pretty solid. Would I give Tim Hardaway Jr.'s minutes? Maybe. So 6 straight wins. The Mavericks are the 7th seed currently. I mean, that's just kind of nuts because it's not like they were the 11th seed and now they're up to 7 after 6 straight wins. No, they were the 8th seed. So not a lot of movement in the West because everybody's just on fire currently. Except the Kings, even though the Kings got a nice win last night against the Nuggets. And except the Nuggets, who have lost 3 straight games. And the Nuggets have just kind of, I mean, beyond losing 3 straight games, they've lost a chunk of games over the last month or so. Slipping a little bit. Mavs only 4 games back of Denver. So looking ahead, the Pelicans have the tiebreaker versus the Mavericks. Am I wrong there? Or actually, I believe the Mavs have the tiebreaker against the Pelicans currently. because of division record. Because they've split the season series 2-2. Mavs currently have a better division record. So I think that's what the next tiebreaker is. The Mavericks play the Kings 2 more times. The Kings have beat the Mavericks twice already, so going to have to win those games. Mavs do play Phoenix again. I mean, that's the first game after the All-Star break. That's going to be a massive game for tiebreaker purposes. Won't have the tiebreaker against the Nuggets. I believe you have the tiebreaker versus the Lakers. 2 more games against the Warriors, which might get interesting. I mean, you've got a pretty comfortable lead on the Warriors, I feel like. But Mavericks just win games and take care of business. 1, they'll find themselves in the playoffs. They'll be a top 6 seed. 2, you go on the hot stretch, man. You go on a run where you're winning a lot of games. You go on a run where you're winning a lot of games. It's not inconceivable that you find yourself in the top 4. It's not. There's always one of these teams that sort of falters in the second half, and they've built a comfortable enough lead, this group of teams here, that, maybe they just hold steady even in like even during a rough patch, but it's possible. It's possible. It's crazy the Celtics 43-12, like just cruising to the 1 seed. Things can get wild towards the end where 5 to 8 teams are going to be trying to avoid Denver on purpose. Yeah, and that's another reason I think you can get to the 4 seed is I think we're going to reach a point where some teams are like, all right, where do we want to be in the playoffs exactly? I think that might become more of a thing in the East where teams are looking to avoid Boston in the second round. Because it's just so jumbled in the West, I feel like you can't purposefully tank games because you don't know what that's going to end up doing for you. But yeah, I mean, if you're one of these top, what's funny is I think if you ask pretty much all of these teams, hey, who do you want to play in the playoffs? They would tell you the top 2 seats. Like all of these teams would say Timberwolves or Thunder. Like we'd want to play the Timberwolves or the Thunder. I don't think no team's going to want to face the healthy Clippers. No team's going to want to face Denver, obviously. No team's going to want to face the Suns if they're healthy. Well, maybe the Pelicans, because we just don't know what they're like. No team's going to want to face Luka and Kyrie. That's just the truth. Whether Mavericks play Minnesota or New Orleans. Both are difficult. Zion is yet to play in a playoff series. So the thing with Zion is like, in the Pelicans, if they're healthy and stuff, we've yet to see Zion in the playoffs. We don't know what that's going to look like. I'll say this. I've shitted on the Timberwolves. I wouldn't say shitted on, but I've been a little critical of the Timberwolves just watching them thinking, this team is in deep jeopardy. This team is in deep, deep jeopardy if they don't fix some stuff. They are begging to get beat in the first round of the playoffs if they don't fix some things. And they've been better lately. Anthony Edwards' playmaking and stuff has been much better lately. If they fix some of that stuff, then yeah, they're a nightmare. But if they kind of revert back to, we had 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter. What the fuck happened? Cat had 3 offensive fouls in the fourth quarter, and Anthony Edwards shot 3 threes 5 seconds in the shot clock off the side of the rim. What the fuck just happened? Then yes, I would do. I would rather play the Timberwolves, I think. But just if I'm just being objective and I'm not trying to be mean, out of the 10 teams, I think the teams you'd kind of want to circle as like, okay, this team is beatable. Like we kind of prefer this matchup. The reality is the Thunder, just being a young team, you do kind of circle them. What the fuck do they do with Giddey? Gordon Hayward hasn't played yet. I'm interested to see what he looks like in the Giddey spot. But the Giddey situation with him is going to really matter in the postseason. What they do with that. And I'm interested to see it. What's their patience? Are they really going to be, hey, this year was never supposed to be some major contending year for us. It's great that we've been really good. We want to see. We've seen it in the regular season, but we want to see what happens with Josh Giddey in the playoffs. We want to see it before we make any big decisions moving forward. If that's the route they choose to go, they're in some jeopardy. If they say, hey, Giddey, look, we've seen it all regular season. You're just not him. I think Shea's going to be fine in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I do. I know he had a rough playing game last year. I know his playoff performances in years past weren't the greatest, even though rookie year and year 2, so whatever. I think J-Dub will be good in the playoffs, but this will be all of those guys' first go-around in the postseason, and for Shea, his first go-around in the postseason as the guy. And very rarely do you just walk right in and dominate. You got to take your lumps and bruises, man. How'd you like Gafford Lively rotations last night? I mean, they were good. I don't put too much stock into them because Lively was on a minute restriction. There's no way Giddey survives this summer. There's no way Giddey's on this Thunder team next year. I don't know how you can do it. You can't. You straight up cannot have him on the team next year. It's not even him being toxic. It's just his style of play clashes so heavily with everything else you do. Where do I see KJ going? Like Kenyon Martin Jr.? Oh, Keldon Johnson. Oh, I have no idea. Probably to Atlanta in the Trae Young trade. Would have to be, right? With the salaries. There you go. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out moving forward the rest of the season. I do kind of want Wemby to get help, but also at the same time, as a Mavs fan, look, I'm watching the games. I see it. People could dig their head, bury their head in the sands. They bury their head in the sand all they want. It's not going to be very fun whenever they get going. It's not going to be very fun. It's just kind of funny because it's like the Spurs know. Hey, we're still trying to tank and be bad. We have to contain Victor Wembanyama. If he plays 36, 37 minutes a night, we're going to win way too many games. I mean, in 27 minutes, he was only a -9 last night in a blowout. Look at everyone else. Keldon Johnson, -27. Zach Collins, -14. Yeah, I would love for the Mavericks to have the Spurs lottery luck. Unfortunately, they have some of the worst lottery luck in the league. Yeah, Vassell was not good last night. No, I think the Mavs have one more game against the Spurs. Yeah. You play your division teams 4 times. Why do the Kings and Mavs play 4 times? That's kind of weird. Right? Spurs gonna draft Topic. Am I saying that right? So anyways, interesting times indeed for the Dallas Mavericks. The Nuggets are just kind of scuffling. Now, to be fair to them, no Jamal Murray in this game, no KCP in this game. This is by strength of schedule, man. This is by strength of schedule. You look at it, you have to take everything with a grain of salt because the Mavericks had a road trip a week ago where it was like Philly, New York Knicks. And a couple weeks ago, you look at that and say, fuck, That's going to be a brutal one. And then you get there, and it's the dead Philadelphia 76ers and the dead New York Knicks. You looked at the Kings schedule, and you're like, oh, my God, they might be out of the play-in tournament by the end of this. Denver, OKC, Phoenix, Denver, and granted, they're only 2-2 in those games. Both wins against Denver. But they go up against the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, without KCP. Yeah, Jokic has had like a bit of a rough patch lately. 15 points, 6 of 17. I don't feel the Jokic dominance the way that he has in other regular seasons. I think he's just cruising, if I'm being honest. That's what it looks like. He's still been really good. I know advanced metrics still absolutely love him. We've on this channel before done this, a deep dive into this, and it's like Jokic's plus minus numbers are so skewed by the fact that the Nuggets run so many 5-man bench lineups. Like, they're so skewed by that fact. And granted, they usually just dominate opponents when he's on the floor, so it's not that big of a deal, but who cares about plus minus? Well, it's mainly like because the big argument for Jokic and being MVP and stuff is the advanced analytics that absolutely adore him. And a big thing that factors into those advanced analytics is on-off plus-minus splits. But plus-minus and on-off stats are very, very dependent on team situation and how teams play. Because some teams play like the Nuggets where they run 5-man bench lineups. And some teams, stagger guys. Some teams have one starter. Like, they like to put their best player with all bench lineups and stuff like that. So it's just always something to think about. But anyways, a nice win for the Kings, man. They needed that one. Good job for De'Aaron Fox. He closed this game out incredibly after Kings fans were on his ass, man. I was on their subreddit. Holy shit. They were on his ass. But he had a good game last night. Sabonis, no triple-double for Sabonis. The triple-double streak comes to an end, but I think he's got like 37 straight double-doubles or something crazy like that. So shout out to Sabonis. You guys know Sabonis is my favorite player in the league. So shout out to him. Love his work. Good job, Domantas Sabonis. Love him. What? That's not toxic. I love his game, man. I love dribble handoffs and elbows to the chest. It's great. Hornets are 3-0 in the Grant Williams era. How about that? Brandon Miller's been hooping lately. I'm working on my top 100 list. I'm not going to lie. I want to sneak Brandon Miller into it. I just don't know if it's possible. But I would actually really like to sneak Brandon Miller into the top 100. Put Miller above Mikal. All right, see, I can't go that far. Put Josh motherfucking Green. See, like, you want to put all these guys in and put your favorite players in, and then you start doing the list, and you're like, oh. Like, there's probably going to be 2 Mavericks. I'm just warning you now. Which, both of them are going to be very high. I'm looking at the guard situation across the league, and then I look at Kyrie, and I'm like, wait, why isn't Kyrie better than this guy? Wait, why exactly isn't Kyrie better than this guy? Lively would be the one who's in there. And I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to try my hardest. Well, Brandon Miller has been playing some great basketball lately, man. Some great basketball. I'm just pulling up some random. Last 10 games, 23.5 points. 48% from the field, 41% from 3 on 8 attempts a game. So shout out to Brandon Miller. It's good to see you. This has been a lost season for the Hornets. I mean, a bad season where it's just like coming to Jesus almost. You know, LaMelo Ball cannot stay on the fucking court. What do you do with that information? Because if I'm the, oh my God, hold on a second. Hold on a second. College football has a trailer. NCAA football has a trailer. Is there actually going to be gameplay? Man, this isn't a fucking trailer. Full reveal in May. Oh, okay. All right, well, there we go. This better be good, man. This shit better be good. Is all I'm saying. Mavs since the trade deadline, 3-0 record, first in defense, 9th in offense, second in net rating. Why don't they add the Knicks game? That was technically since the trade deadline, so they're technically 4-0. But I get what they're saying. I would think about trading LaMelo after the season. What would LaMelo's value even be? Like, what would his value even be? 3 firsts? Maybe. I mean, teams that have a ton of caps or picks to trade, maybe they take a shot. But I feel like LaMelo would have that weird value thing where he's just never healthy. And there's, like, not enough teams that want to trade for him that what's even the point if you're the Hornets. 51 games his rookie season. That was a short season, to be fair, but 51 games his rookie season. 75 year 2. 36 last season and 22 this season. Like, he's on pace to play maybe 40 games. If that. I mean, that would actually probably feel like a miracle. I don't know, man. I don't know. But Brandon Miller is the bright spot here. And obviously, they've won 3 straight games. LaMelo's ceiling is very high. He just cannot stay on the court, man. It sucks. You know, Mark Williams has missed a lot of time this season too, but, you know, maybe you found something with Grant Williams. Maybe Grant Williams just needed to be in a place where no one is really going to pay attention. No offense, but that's just the truth. And it's different whenever a team signs you in free agency and expecting you to be a big piece of their puzzle for, like, contending. That's different than, oh, I just kind of got traded here to this team, and there's not a lot of expectations for winning. Yeah, I was wrong about Brandon Miller too. I mean, I trashed them for that, the same as everyone else. Trashed them for not taking Scoot. And Scoot's had his moments. I'm not like completely ready to write off Scoot or anything like that, but Micic just played well. I mean, all of the guys that got in trades, kind of hilarious. Trey Mann had a great game last night. Why is it that, like, all right, Grant Williams is popping off. Cool. Everyone and their mother is making jokes about that. Oh, why couldn't the Mavericks get Luka? No. Like, okay, what about Trey Mann? What about Micic? You know, I'm not doing the comparison thing with Grant Williams. I don't give a shit. Good for him. He can ball out in Charlotte. That's cool with me. I don't care. He was fucking trash in Dallas. I wanted it to work. I thought it would work. It wasn't working. And they moved on. And PJ Washington just fits better with the team. So best of luck to Grant Williams. Knicks desperately need the All-Star break. Four straight losses for New York, 5 of their last 6. And obviously just dealing with a A ton of injuries, man. OG hasn't played in a while. Randall obviously out with that separated shoulder. Brunson missed some time. He played well last night, though. Who else? I mean, who else has missed time? Isaiah Hartenstein's out now. I mean, they're crawling into the All-Star break here, so they desperately need it. Hopefully, they can get healthy. I mean, look at the guys getting minutes for them. Yeah, Burks has been terrible for them so far. They're not huge fans. But Precious has been 10 offensive rebounds for Precious. He's been balling. Yeah, being a minus 28 as a starter is nuts, especially when your other starting guard was -2. Nice win for the Magic. I saw some stat about Paolo and Wagner combining to do something that's never been done before for guys that young. I don't remember what the stat was, though. So the Knicks desperately need the All-Star break, and here they are. Heat and 76ers. The Heat beat the Sixers. Sixers obviously also in need of the All-Star break. Heat kind of in need of the All-Star break too, but they're going into the offseason, or the All-Star break, with some wins under their belt, which is nice. They've won 4 of their last 5. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league. 6 of their last 7. 6 of their last 8, I guess I should say. They've been one of the hotter teams in the NBA. They start figuring it out. I know everybody in the East looks at the Heat like, oh, fuck. They're like, oh, shit. They're starting to win games again, guys. Like, oh, holy shit. Here they come. It's just never ending. Never ending with them. Jimmy's starting to play better. He didn't play in this game, but I'm just saying overall. Nice to see Bam. Bam had a little dip in performance. Their Jovic minutes are hilarious. Where it's like he's starting but getting like 12 minutes. Pacers beat the Raptors in Siakam's return to Toronto. I'll say this. It was a nice game by the Raptors. I think if I'm a Raptors fan, I'm very okay with how this game went down, even though we lost. I'm okay with that. You know, Scotty played well after that weird walking off the court shit a couple nights ago. RJ Barrett's been playing really well lately. You lose the game, so what? It's completely fine. If everyone's winning, who is losing? The shit teams. And the Pacers, who are also kind of crawling into the All-Star break. Well, I say that. 4-2 in their last 6, but a whole lot of red before that. I did see Clay sell, yes. The Warriors lose. Part of me wants to say a hard-fought game. It's funny because I tweeted out in the middle of this game, I'm scared of the Warriors because it looked like the Warriors were going to win. It was like, fuck. Warriors are really playing well. They end up losing. 44-28 fourth quarter. The Clippers just, I mean, their offense of the fourth was insane. I mean, they were just. Are you scared of them? Because they've been there a million times, and they've been playing really well since Draymond came back. Like, really well. Against some good teams. But no Kawhi in this game. Paul George ends up fouling out. And, like, Amir Coffey was icing them. Shout out to Ice Coffee. Amir Coffey was icing them. Russ was icing them down the stretch. A nice win, though. Norman Powell was icing them down the stretch. Norman Powell's so good. Funny, I started a 2K online league with some of my friends. It's been a lot of fun, actually. Shout out to 2K. I had Norman Powell. His jump shot in 2K is so fucking slow that I had to trade him after my first game. Why is Dre a 35-year-old man making weird finger gestures and calling men pussies? Because that's Draymond. That's Draymond. We're scared of them if Norman Powell and Amir Coffey are cooking them. Listen, I tweeted that before Norman Powell and Amir Coffey started cooking them. Shout out to Amir Coffey, though. I always thought he was kind of a good player, and he's been playing really well in his minutes so far. Thoughts on LeBron Steph smoke? I don't know what LeBron's got going on. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. It's funny because during the stream yesterday, I was like, yeah, this is a complete and total non-story. Who cares? And someone in the comments was like, it's a non-story, yet you're using it as your clickbait title. And I was like, wow. It's true. I'm no better than ESPN. Oh, yeah, Powell stitches down the down his head, yeah. I've become one of them, yeah. So the Suns blow out the Pistons. You had the Isaiah Stewart situation. We don't know what the hell happened there. Isaiah Stewart got arrested and let go after punching Drew Eubanks before the game in the tunnel. I mean, a wild situation. An absolutely wild situation. Apparently there's video that I'm sure will surface at some point. The Suns released a statement. Both Isaiah Stewart and Drew Eubanks. Well, here we go. Let's look what Shams has to say. Both Isaiah Stewart and Drew Eubanks were walking into the arena by the security area pregame last night in Phoenix. Some words were exchanged. Both players came chest to chest, and Isaiah Stewart, from what I'm told, punched Drew Eubanks in the mouth-lip area. Insane. Absolutely crazy. So, we'll wait to see what comes from this. I'm sure Isaiah Stewart will probably get suspended if I had to guess. Lakers blow out the Jazz. They're rolling. Celtics annihilate the Nets. I mean, a total evisceration. And is that it? Did we cover all the games? Oh, Cavs beat the Bulls. This was a fun game. I was watching this game. I mean, getting arrested is crazy. Oh, yeah, and Book got 2 Ts in the first 5 minutes of the game. Prayers to KC? Yeah. Yes. Can't believe that shit, man. Can't believe it. Actually, I can. What am I talking about? I can't believe it. Anything more American than what happened in Kansas City yesterday in the Super Bowl parade, a sport that is only American, a purely American sport, a mass shooting, which also feels purely American. Some dark irony there.